Book of Matthew, chapter 24, starting at verse 1. Subtitle, Signs of Mashiach's Return. It reads, And Yahushua went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Yahushua said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left here one stone upon another, and shall not be thrown down. Verse 3, And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? Yahushua answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come by name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. I want to start off by giving all praise, all honor, all glory to Kol Loya Bla Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kodash. Double honor to the elders and to the apostles, whom I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith and with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Aquath to listen and learning, Lord willing, this is edifying. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad, and the land of other nations appear like the other nations, but subscribe to the truth. To you I say Shalom. So Brother Yahweh coming at you with another lesson through the Spirit, through the power of Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushai, Yahweh meaning He is, He exists, or He to be. By Hashem, by His end, how His none Hashem His name. Yahushai meaning He saves, or He delivers. True names of the Most High God, His Son, who these people ignorantly call God, and Jesus Christ. Whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh. By Hashem Yahushai. And this lesson is inspired by an article I saw on my Newsbreak app. I saw this yesterday at work. I planned on going into it, but I was sleepy, so well, not sleepy. I was tired. Scriptures talk about place wearing out the saints. But funny because I was tired, so I laid down. I thought I was gonna do it in the morning, which Lord to behold, it's the fourth hour, right, or the fourth watch. These are those times where the Lord wants you to get up, or He got it on your spirit. They can't sleep. He restless or whatever the case may be. So in the ancient times, I remember Brother bringing that out. He went to the understanding of it because he was reading the fourth watch and he made me break it down. And you go to the fourth watch. I remember growing up and we would hear it. We called it the way I was taught it was called the witching hour, because that's the hours between I think like 3 and 6. So or is it 12 to 6? But when you read the scriptures, it talks about Yahushua did a lot of his miracles during those time frames. Yeah. But it's caught my attention because just showing you the state of the world and how things are getting more and more serious. The scripture tell you in the last days, perilous times shall come, which I'm about to get. And then, it just made me think about something that the one brother in the news, he goes into, because he was like, you could tell, some hood. He from, I ain't gonna say, I can't really say, just because a person speak on certain stuff doesn't necessarily mean, but 9 times out of 10, I'm a little ghetto boy. So, there's certain things that we've experienced or grew up and seen or had to be not affiliated, but had to, you know, because of maybe where you grew up at or your living situation. Certain things happen in certain neighborhoods where, as opposed to certain neighborhoods, you don't even have to worry about it. One particular brother that I'm quite fond of, shalom to that brother. He a little ghetto boy, but I remember when he got his own spot, he moves far away from niggas. And my whole thinking was, I know I attract Esau, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking, I would have moved all the way around Esau, but at the same time, I see why he did it. You know what I'm saying? You move a certain kind of way. You don't necessarily have to move a certain kind of way. Like I said, it's all the spirit of the Lord. I did lessons about the fact of, I remember the elder was talking about the police being out and pulling everybody over. I remember what I did lessons about because of Trump. I'm not saying I'm the only one. What I'm saying is, when Trump was talking about giving these police officers more discretion and freedom to do, and not to be held to like certain, like basically to be prosecuted due to certain things they may, excessive force and whatnot. And I got caught up with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like to the point where this motherfucker tried to do the whole thing, go through my truck and all that. The car ain't even in my name. I'm like, how the fuck you do that? So how you gonna say that's mine? Which I probably could have beat the case if it was like anything illegal, but I was just really so stuck on it. Like, how y'all even doing this? He like, we're inventory in the car. Now mind you, this is the only person that did this. It was just really showing you, you know. And then if you pay attention, like brothers have been speaking on, you got all these different things happening simultaneously. And so long story short, though, what I was getting in the last days, perilous time should come. I ain't trying to make this too drawn out. There just be so much going on, and the way my mind work. You know, what the wrong one, Salakia. I wonder if I can go back like that. Yeah, I can. This is the book of Second Timothy, chapter 3. And the point is verse 1. I'll probably read all the way to 5. And it reads, "This know also that in the last days perilous times should come." When you go to that word perilous, it's a Greek word kalapes, meaning difficult, dangerous, fierce, hard to do, hard to bear. So we live in the times, and it's funny because I recall using this word, breaking it down, you know, so many times when I first learned to, because brothers deep and whatnot, they get into the, the Greek or the Hebrew, get to breaking down words, you know. So when I did it, I used to do it on this word calipas, and when you go into it, it's kind of like, well, this actually is this chapter, is actually these verses, because when you read how he said the people were gonna be, when you really sit and analyze it, people are exactly how Timothy said they were gonna be. Well, this Paul, I think, right this says 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 2, "For men should be lovers of their own selves, so vain, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy." When you go into the word holy in the Hebrew is quadash. Quadash, meaning separate. But in this world, scriptures talk about following out a multitude of do evil. Everybody want to be joined onto something, even if they think it is in righteousness' sake. I was thinking about that because you got a lot of people that I was listening to the elder who said people don't have a backbone or don't know what to stand on. What happens? The Lord just got a lot of people like, they say cut the head off the snake and the body shall die. A lot of people really ain't gonna know what to do. You know what I'm saying? They not really gonna know what to do. It says, without natural affection. So, the love of many waxing cold. I just read that. Because iniquity shall abound, the sin upon sin shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. It says, without natural affections, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, basically lawless, fierce, despisers of those that are good. In continent, I'm hearing that from what I hear, they robbing the whole selling pussy. That's how you know it's getting bad. You know, I was listening to or Kaba. You know, I was listening to the one brother. He was going into he said you better because these gas going up. You better. What year was that when Bush Jr. was in office? Gas went up. I was incarcerated at the time, but I'm hearing the stories on the street. It's funny how you'll find out more that's going on in the street locked up than the motherfucker that is in the street. Motherfuckers talk, but they siphon the gas then off of some Mad Max road warrior type shit. You know, he was like, you better hope you got an alarm on your car. And even with that, you better, I've seen videos on YouTube where a motherfucker could try to come steal a motherfucking dog. You know what I mean? Like, so let alone the gas or like I said again. I was thinking about this because I was talking to I got a little guy that I deal with I buy precious metals. I've been dealing with him for like the last maybe 2-3 years. He appeared to be. I think he'll eat a bite, but he come across like the elders say, cool enough. You know what I mean? Like he ain't just blatantly in your face on some Donald Trump. I'm better than you. Fuck you, nigger. You know. But no, he tell me little. I think he cool because he tell me little shit. You know that he don't have to tell you. You know. Just like I was dealing with this Jake one that my female friend put me on too, and he the one that told me about he was hitting at the war but without hitting it. Then I ended up seeing that movie Abraham Lincoln as Vampire Slayer, and I saw that movie to buy all that silver. So that's why you had the silver skyrocket to the point it did because of the fact they was using that shit in technology. They still is the war just starting, and like I was listening to the elder say, what is that called? A holy war, a jihad. But long story short, a holy war doesn't end. It is when like you said, the infidel is decimated, or when they're taken out. And you got to understand that literally they have been waiting on this for years. When you take time to think about it, the Lord gave me something earlier today. When you go into that guy Pete Hegswith, go pay attention to the tattoos he got on it. But I was gonna do a lesson on it. I'm probably going to do a lesson, but like he got tattoos on him from the Crusades. Back when that's why they were saying that it's a holy war. That's why they was putting it in the minds of the U.S. soldiers that this is between God and the devil. Because they're going back to the Crusades. I found an article on it. Laura Willie, I will touch on it, but yeah, it's so much going on. I was hearing about, I might name this various topics. I was hearing about the guys pretty much said don't go to Ohio because it's all kind of Bigfoot sightings here and the meteors, and they talk about all kind of UFO sightings and all kind of shit. I remember I was telling the young brother because he went down there. I didn't even go, but I remember years ago I came across this information about the Serpent Mound in Ohio. And pretty much it's like a graveyard. And all the people that's buried there are like 7 foot or better, and it's shaped in like a pattern that they call like a spiritual pattern. It always gets all these different UFO sightings. I think it was like where a burial ground for Gad or one of the Northern Kingdom tribes. Brother had got me a staff. I mean, he got me a stick from there, and he got me a staff from there, and I had brother, mark it up and, put my touch on it. Then my goofy ass gave it to the brother. That was the Lord did all that, though. Because I was able to get a better one. But anyhow, yeah. So it's just like, it's so much going on. And like the elder brother did the lesson on what's at the foremost seat is prophecy. We only waiting on a few major prophecies left. The financial collapse of the system, the implementation of the CHIP or the micro CHIP or the RFID chip, and then World War III, which we already in World War III, which show you how everything could move quickly, like the elder always said, because you got to think about it. Like if we already in financial ruins right now, like, I mean, how much more do you think this could stay? I was watching an article or I said watch, read. Well, I didn't even read it. I glanced at it, and it was talking about how gas prices can reach $4 in Ohio, but we already at $4. Like I just got some gas the other day. It was like 4.55. So you know, it ain't far fetched for the shit to get to like $7. This could be the oil start of that financial collapse. It's funny how this all situated or taking place because again, you got these businessmen that are trying to dictate this war, and Trump is trying to be the puppet. But you forgot that the people pretty much control that region over there. So you want to cause war, but at the same time, you want to. That show you how silly the motherfuckers is. You want to cause war, but at the same time, you want to sue for peace in order to still make your money. Like it's just like it's funny. It says, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, spiders of those that are good, traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than the lovers of the Most High. You having a form of godliness, but deny the power thereof, from such turn away. Like I said, I made me think of one particular brother, and he was going into how you better have a alarm on your car. Or hopefully, you got one of those gas tanks that you can't just access. You know, but motherfuckers be bold. They shit, motherfucker come to your yard and try to cut off your catalyst converter. You know what I mean? So yeah, shit about to get super dangerous. You know what I mean? Again, if you got loved ones, you got Eves and shit like that. If I was you, I would like just not send her out there by herself. When you go shopping and shit, go on a day where y'all all can go out there. Because again, the weaker vessel. And this was a man, so this was really caught my attention because again, this could be anybody. This could be a brother in the faith. This can happen to anybody if it's the Lord's will. It says a UPS driver, a dad of three, has been fatally shot while desperately searching for a stolen vehicle. So they stole the vehicle and he was searching for it and they shot his ass. Postal worker, now he's not a postal worker, he's a UPS worker. And UPS was paying, some serious bucks. You know what I'm saying? So of course he ain't want to lose that job. I haven't read the article, but I'm assuming that they stole the van, which that probably would have been his job. Now we about to read it to a degree together. But it's just showing you the times we had. This postal worker, Michael Hunter, that's deep. 36 was shot in his head while speaking with witnesses in Chicago, said his distraught family. Oh, yeah, they in Chicago, so of course. A $10,000 reward is being offered for information leading to the arrest of Michael Hunter's killer as his family demands justice. It says the UPS worker was fatally shot after making his final delivery for the day. It says they took my son, Hunter's father said yesterday. His emotional dad has been wearing his son's UPS jacket since his death at the weekend. Who the fuck wrote this? UPS staff did this was probably AI. Motherfuckers trusted the AI. I can't even fucking. Says the UPS staffer's identity. That's crazy that they show in this commercial. Let's go past that. You know what I'm saying? They took my son, Hunter's father said yesterday. This emotional dad has been wearing his son's UPS jacket since his death at the weekend, reported NBC Chicago. The UPS staffer's identity was publicly released yesterday with his family issuing an urgent plea to find his killer. Hunter's sister, Tori O'Hara, held up a photo of the postal worker at a press conference, reported CBS News. I beg you, city of Chicago, see this face, she asked. Now, at Spirit, I got the opportunity to visit, Akiem in Chicago, and, it was pleasant and beautiful amongst brothers. But, I could just only imagine, the spirit out there. Like, I remember this one of the first things I've ever seen in the city is them niggas, Salaki. Yeah, I'm saying it like that though. Them niggas, they to hold their parking spot, they put furniture and ash cans and everything in there. Now mind you. So they like, nigga, and if you take that spot, you fuck around and get into a fist fight, probably be out of fist fight. They ain't fighting fair. Yeah. They not looking at it like, well, shit, we can punch each other in the face and walk away and live to still take care of our children. No, it's gonna be like a fucking King Von moment, you know. And that's King Von's the perfect opportunity of you live by the sword, you die by the sword, because he didn't pull out a sword or blicky. What he did, he was using his fist. But he done shot so many people and unalived and was a psychopath, a serial killer. You know, it's funny. Me and the young brother was listening. No, I don't even think we was listening. He brought him up. He was like, he made that song, They Turned Me Into a Demon. And I didn't even know who he was, you know what I mean? Again, I listen to, rap, and I like certain rappers, I like certain styles and whatnot. I've listened to some of his music, but point being, certain these young guys, I don't know exactly who they are, you know what I mean? Or, I might, I got an ear for music to a degree. So certain things I hear that if it catch my attention, you know what I mean, I'll pay attention to it. But for the most part, the guy, young NBA, what a NBA young boy, like he garbage. You know what that dude for that's 2 times? He said, "Oh no, yeah, that nigga garbage." He said straight doo doo. That nigga garbage. But no, seriously, all the movie, I can say all of it, majority of it, a lot of it is garbage. But point being, like I thought about that, like he had unalived so many people. You know, I think they said, he was close to. He said because he had a saying he was saying. He said to be a killer, you had to have more than one body. He said basically if you killed one person, that could have been a fluke. You got to be on that. Yeah, that's a demon. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude, Ken Yeller said that. He said, shit, you telling me I can't come here? Who is you? But first of all, okay. He like, the fuck? What about, you know what I mean? I mean, you got to think about it. These niggas is so, like, what's the word? Hopeless. They not letting, some cities want to see, like San Francisco with Salakia. MC Hammer wasn't from San Francisco. He was from Oakland. And Oakland and San Francisco is like two absolute opposites, but they in the same area. Like they over a bridge. So you go over the bridge, and you got Oakland, you go over the bridge, and you got San Francisco. You know what I'm saying? And when you look into what MC Hammer was able to do, his city, his neighborhood was behind him. They was talking about how King Von, the area, like when you listen to guys that from that area and whatnot, they say shit. Like the one dude, I can't think of his name, but he be doing interviews with certain podcasters. He a rapper. He was talking about he was like he knew certain people was gonna die because he's like you got money and these niggas know you got money and you not letting nobody eat. Yeah, they coming to get they don't they coming to get you. You know they not looking at it like seeing you prosper. They see they envy. Jealousy. Those are some hell of a traits. That's why I think talk about the deadly sins. You know what I mean? Officers recorded to the 8,000 block of South Hermitage at about 12:29 a.m. Okay, who delivers that late? Most read in the U.S. Hunter was found lying on the ground, according to Chicago police. He was pronounced dead at the scene. UPS postal worker was shot in Chicago's early Sunday morning. Credit. I've never heard of UPS delivering that late. Hunter was fatally shot in the head after returning from a final UPS delivery job for the week. Michael meant everything to Michael. Why do they keep on repeating everything? It says Hunter was shot at while searching for his missing car, which disappeared from its parking spot. It was while walking to an intersection to speak to witnesses that he was fired at, according to his family. The attack occurred at the corner of 80th Street. Oh, so I thought they took the truck or the van, but they took his car. He went to go ask people about the car, and they shot him. I was thinking they just took the whole van, but you know, it doesn't really take away from the fact of how dangerous times is. You know what I mean? Like again, it's gonna get bad out here. You ain't seen nothing yet. Because the less and less opportunities people have, the more and more the love of many shall wax cold. On top of the fact that YNs, which I got that scripture, says while walking to an intersection to speak to witnesses that he was fired at according to his family. The attack occurred at the corner of 80th Street and S. Hermitage Ave, they added. Michelle Patterson, a community advocate, urged witnesses to speak up to help the family receive justice for his death. I am asking the community to not be silent, she told reporters yesterday. I'm asking you guys to take accountability. I'm asking you guys to begin to speak to your neighbors. I'm asking you to come forth. Yeah, that's fucked up. But the scriptures talk about life and death belong in the power of the hand of the how about Shem Yahushua. So, you know, it talks about what's that, Psalm 68? For the Lord belongs the issues of death. So for whatever reason, the scriptures talk about wicked man understand of thy judgment. I'm a father of three. But yet still though, you know what I mean? Scriptures talk about serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Was he serving Yahweh Shem Yahushua? Did he even know Yahweh Shem Yahushua? And again, it's just a testimony to how, fucked up everything will get. Scriptures talk about a lot of a lot, it talks about one nation or what people should stand up to fight against another. I just did a lesson yesterday about they was going through a safety department or something like that in Mississippi, and they found Ku Klux Klan regalia, all these different items and artifacts. And they talk about taking it to, the history museum and all this other shit. At first, I thought they was talking about more recently, but no, that just show you that spirit is in Egypt. You don't think that spirit's still in Egypt? I was watching a video with the guy Pete Hegseth, the director or what was the Secretary of Defense, and he saluted the white officer, but he didn't salute the Jake. He shook his head, and the Jake wasn't even offended or nothing. So hell no, I don't feel sorry for these stupid ass niggas. I'm so glad, show you how even when you a nigga, when the Lord directed your steps. Because, well, I don't think, again, if I'd have went to the service at the time when when they were trying to get me to go, I don't, Desert Storm, they said wasn't really a war. It was just us showing our might. Now they can't show their might like they want to because of the fact you got China and Russia. Like the elder said, for whatever reason, the spirit jumped on this goofy ass dude and let these, generals. He helped basically put the cables on him to or Mussolini or, but basically they was talking about the Third World War. Second Ezra is chapter 5. Let's start at verse 1. Second Ezra 5 and 1. Nevertheless, as concerning the tokens, behold, the days shall come that they shall dwell upon earth, shall be taken, and a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. Especially when that famine of the word comes. And that goes into that hopelessness, you know what I mean? Like, I just been thinking about that, you know what I mean? That's the day when having somebody that around you that believe, like a sincere family member, somebody that truly believe, You got an Eve, brothers. You know what I mean? You know, her brothers that's gonna be amongst each other. Just don't believe. Again, I say certain things. I was listening to again the guy that I deal with. The guy, that I've been buying my little coins and whatnot from. He said something that hit me in the head. I was like, damn, you're right. He was like, if you got like a certain amount of silver, he like, you might not be able to get that shit up. And he right. I thought about it, I was like, damn, you right. So, I had coinage because the spirit was on the Lord had the spirit on certain individuals. They was buying coins, you know what I'm saying? Then I watched the elders speak on it because that was a good investment. But I went through a lot of myself. I just bought, when I went to try to get some of this shit, he was like, they didn't even have that much because you got to think about it. A lot of the dealers and shit sold that shit when silver hadn't been that high. You know how long? And now everybody kind of priced out the market to pay $70, $80 for a silver 1 ounce coin when you could pay $20 just a few years ago. Like I was buying it when it was 20 some dollars, 22, 24. And it to go up to 120, it was $122 at one point. So you don't think they sold some of that shit? I ain't never been to a coin shop and they like, well, shit, yeah, not really. I'm like, yeah, you ain't got the silver sale. He like, yeah, not really. But he was like, what you can fuck with is the half dollars and quarters and dimes and whatnot. He was like, because, that's like 90% silver. So you can go take that and get melt value for it. You know what I mean? It's not going to be as much as you would get for like of course, a 1 ounce coin, but at the same time, you can get probably 3 coins for what you go pay for the 1 ounce, And then just imagine, like I say again, who you gonna be able to sell that to? An Arab? Pretty soon they about to go into these Arab stores and shit. I'm looking at the grocery stores, these little Arab grocery stores and shit. They busting in the bitches and everything. These little gas stations that making all this money that sell chicken and the legalized marijuana. You know what I'm saying? And all the hot funyuns and everything that you want. This one-stop shop. I'm watching them like them niggas got big security. Yeah, okay, you got a security guard with an M16 or some kind of assault rifle or whatever the fuck. But again, that don't mean nothing when enough niggas is motivated. So again, times of trouble is coming like never before. It says, but iniquity shall be increased above that which thou seest, or that thou hast heard long ago. And the land that thou seest thou to have root, shalt thou see wasted suddenly. Verse 4, but the Most High grant thee to live, thou shalt see after the third trumpet that the sun shall suddenly shine again in the night, and the moon thrice in the day. And blood shall drop out of wood, and the stone shall give his voice, and the people shall be troubled. And even look not for that dwell upon the earth, and the fowls shall take their flight away together. And the Sodomite sea, which is this place Babylon the Great, because it's a bunch of sodomites, shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. There shall be a confusion also in many places, and the fire shall be off sent out again, and the wild beasts shall change their places, and mistress women shall bring forth monsters. And that's representing these young YNs, what the elder call them, the elder apostles, Similac babies, you motherfucking retards. Because that's retarded, some of the shit that they do. Like, I mean, again, I've been around young Jake, and, it's very rare you catch one that is just young. No, I'm going to take that back. That job I had when I was working outside, because I was working on an excavator, Well, not on an excavator. I was working on a rock crusher, like a concrete crusher. And then come to find out, so spiritual, the Lord wanted me out there for the time he had me out there. But come to find out, the brother out the blue just brought it up. In news, show you how the spirit worked though. He was like, they put pork in concrete. What the fuck is you putting pork in concrete for? And when I found that out, like maybe a week or two later, I ended up getting hurt. Well, I ain't get hurt, but I almost got fucking killed there. Like, and then I just see how shady these crackers was. Like, I mean, we know they shady, but I was like, and what too much I could. I mean, I probably could have, but like, you know, all money ain't good money. You know what I'm talking about? But again, on that job, I was talking to some younger Jakes. It was like a couple of them that could work on cars and had little businesses. And this dude was like 18, 19 years old. So I was like, yeah, he had a little head on the shoulders. You know what I mean? But most people quit that job. You know what I mean? I didn't really care about the weather. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if you dress for it for real, you could deal with it. Like, I was thinking about like garbage men. You got to be individuals that work outside all year round. So, I know it was possible. I just quit because I was like, man, these motherfuckers ain't shit. And then, like, the back of my mind, I was thinking about the little concrete, with the pork shit. But I almost got killed that bitch. And the motherfuckers was trying to cover the shit up. And it's they policy that every accident is supposed to be reported. I was like, these motherfuckers ain't shit. That's Esau for you, though. And salt water shall be found the sweet, and all friends shall destroy one another. Then shall wit hide itself, and understanding withdraw itself into his secret chamber. That's going into the famine of the word. And shall be sought of many, and yet not be found. Then shall righteousness and continency, lawlessness be multiplied upon the earth. You know, so the, the women bringing forth, or the mistress women bringing forth monsters represents these YNs, and only a little monster could have done that. It's funny how selfish a motherfucker. I see a video where they was here in Cleveland too. It was some niggas. It was a dude getting into it with his woman, and he not even beating her ass. He just arguing with her, and they beat the dog shit out of this dude. But these would be the same dudes. One of them would be the same dudes that you might not get in their face. You know what I mean? Like just a bad time. And little Gremlins is always toughest when it's in numbers. I heard what's the one dude name? He was talking about, it was an old school dude he was locked up with, and he was like being a little terror on the pod. He was like pretty much the old school dude was watching TV. He mad about something, so he fucking with the TV. And the old school dude like, man, leave the TV alone, youngster. And then the young dude came up to, like, he thinking he the shit. You can't, he the young bull. You can't tell him shit. So he like, man, he said this old nigga beat him up so bad. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you can't play with everybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, everything, it's a saying. They say, never judge a book by its cover. Again, I've seen old men, like how that Moses strip. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. You know what I mean? Like, that dude, when I was working at that, I liked the job. Want to know why? Because that old dude this old anybody was stronger than the motherfucker. Because they literally using crowbars and shit to, like, man, I'm talking about that old man strip that you ain't losing. You know what I'm talking about? So I was up there lightweight. I'm like, the Lord must have sent me here because my body is, getting weak. So he, I don't know what the Lord sent me there for, but it did get lower though. But I'm just rambling at this point. I got one final scripture because again, point being, like, yeah, the Lord is the Lord in the mood. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I probably could get Second Ezra chapter 9, but I was gonna get Deuteronomy chapter 30. What's that? 32. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32. It's the book of Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 35. To me belong a vengeance and recompense. Their foot shall slide in due time, for the day of their calamities at hand, and the things that shall come upon them make haste. For the Lord Yahweh Shah shall judge his people and repent himself for his servants when he seeth that their power is gone, and there is none shut up or left. And when it's like, and he shall say, Where are their gods, their rock, and whom they trusted? He probably trusted the UPS, man. You know, it's sad to a degree because again, like I ain't just the most fucked up individual. You know what I mean? Like I actually empathize with people. You know, the only again, I see a homeless person being that I was homeless before. I'm probably gonna give you something, unless I see you with the crack pipe in your fucking head. You know, you have got one hand talking about help me, and then the other hand you got the crack pipe. Hey, here's a video I was going to. I was going to do a lesson on the chick up there. She's smoking the crack pipe and then taking the crack pipe and rolling her motherfucking hair with it. Can't make the shit up. That was probably during good times. You know what I'm saying? Who's to say what the fuck they doing now? You know, that's probably an old video because a lot of people ain't smoking. Well, you know, like that ain't the go-to. You know, the crack epidemic was, you know, experiment for some. That was the hip new thing. Or people. Like if you pay attention right now, they got Xanax. They got legal Xanax, or you got legal lead. I'll be watching this one dude. He got a channel on YouTube, and they say it's lead, but it's legal, so it doesn't really. It's supposed to have the taste, but it don't supposed to have the drug in it. But you got people going there and paying $100 for the shit. What you fucking paying? I thought you paying for the effect. You not like me. The fuck I'm gonna pay $100 to taste some shit that tastes like? Hey, fuck out of here. It says, and ye shall say, where are their gods, their rock in whom they trusted? That just show you how, like, food, like 50 Cent and certain people are like marketing geniuses, because of the simple fact, like, he'll do little like experiments and shit, on how to market certain stuff. And like, again, only a Babylonian or a so-called American would sit up there and you just want to do what you see and everybody do popular, or you would pay $100 for something that's not the real thing. It just tastes like it. Like what the fuck? But yeah, they marketed legal Xanax now. So, this place is really gonna be like a third world country for real. It's funny, they made all these different things illegal, but then they legally got companies selling the same shit. It's crazy. I'm gonna see if I can go find that article on my Newsbreak app. It says, which did eat the fat of their sacrifices and drank the wine of their and drank the wine of their drink offerings. Let them rise up and help you and be your protection. Verse 39 a point. See now that even I am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. I'm going to get this real quick because at the end of the day, it talks about, for the Most High, how much of your shot belongs to issues of death. So yeah, that's terrifying because again, that could have been anybody. You know what I mean? Again, I'm a father of 3. But I like to hope that the Lord, got me covered. You know what I mean? The scriptures talk about the Lord, protected, his believers. It's the book of Psalms, chapter 68 and verse 19. Blessed be the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, who daily loadeth us with benefits, even the power of our salvation, Salah. He that is our power is the God of salvation, and unto the Most High, the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, belongs the issues from death. And when you reread it in the NLT, it says rescues us from death. Well, that individual was delivered on to death. That's a fucked up way to go to, again, you had a long day's worth of work and then come home and the motherfucker that stole your car. And again, what I first thought about is, like I said again, you in the neighborhood, your car got stolen, and you asking the motherfucker, that's how you know somebody in that neighborhood stole the motherfucker. So you're going to see more and more, like I said, again, situations like that, because again, it's getting harder and harder for Jake. And Jake don't think about, like something that Charles White said. Although I don't respect Charles White. I do listen to certain shit he said because, like the elder brother say, or the elder brother used to say, even a broke clock is right twice on the day. Like I said, again, he's like the least respected person, or I feel the least. I mean, I know he don't give a fuck about me. Like everybody, I've seen motherfuckers pull over on the freeway just to say hello or get a picture with this nigga. Which, when you take your time to really listen to him, he's stupid as fuck. Like that nigga's like he got like the jail. He the nigga that the old school dude in jail that don't really know nothing but just think he got game. You know, I wouldn't even trust him for the law library. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like he just a goofy ass nigga. Like for real. Like I mean. Yeah, and I would be surprised if he is affiliated with some kind of, society type of thing. That nigga, like I said, you went to go hit a lick. He did say that. He said, like basically Charles and White, him and his buddies, they went and tried to rob an Edomite, and pretty much the Edomite got killed. Well, what his whole ass did was he pretty much told on the Edomite to get up out of the shit. I mean, told on his best friend. And that's why he looks at the Edomites the way he look at them. You know what I mean? But once you start working for them, you got to always work. You don't stop it. You don't retire. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, that's your job now. Yeah, fuck, forever. Ever. You got a special type of judgment. That's why that nigga always got all them guns and weapons and shit like that. That nigga know they coming to get him. You know what I'm saying? Like, that nigga spirit know. Gotta be like a Tekashi 6ix9ine and shit. Yeah. You done did this and now you gotta understand the spirit of the Lord can jump on anybody at any time to judge you. Like when they jumped on his ass inside that gym. Then one moment he got all the security guards in the world. Next moment he walking by himself. I do this by myself. You did it with a whole bunch of security at one point, so why you ain't got all the security now? You probably can't afford that shit. It's like what 50 Cent said about Rick Ross when he was like, this nigga, he was like, this nigga got all that land, you got to cut that shit yourself. He said, nigga, you can't afford nobody to cut it. I'm rambling at this point. Salakia for all that, I'm trying to keep myself up and, got to make it fun, like the brother said once in a while. But that's why it's so important, especially nowadays, to stay prayed up. You know what I mean? Like, and stay locked in. You know what I mean? Judgment is going forth on a day-by-day basis. So, that's an example of the lawlessness and why you need to stay locked in with Yahweh Shua Shah. So, I'm gonna end the lesson there. If you're a so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the law, statutes, commandments of your power. Whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Shem Shah, or you will be destroyed. Turn back now while you still got the doors of mercy open. I know this particular brothers keep on saying that as of lately, because the doors of mercy are closing. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the Lord. The scriptures say, "Fearful thing to fall in the hands of the living power." It's like the Lord get creative. Like what's that line off of Trade today? The Lord gets surgical with this motherfucker. Hey, I just found out that guy, that police officer, is supposed to be based on a Denzel play. It's supposed to be based off of a real life person, which wouldn't be surprising. Certain characters can't be made up. They based off of somebody. So I'm in the lesson there. If you're so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American, Seminole Indian, West Indian, or Haitian, I implore you to come back to the laws, statutes, commandments of your power, whose true name in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua. You will be destroyed. With that, I want to give all praise, all honor, all glory to call Elohim like Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem. Kodash, double honors to the elders, to the apostles, whom I learned this truth from. Peace and salutations to the Akim across the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth with faith, with sincerity, as well as risking their lives and the freedom to do so, now more so than ever. Shalom to the Akim and the Akwata to listen and learning. Lord will lead us and edify. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners scattered abroad in the land of other nations, appear like the other nations, who subscribe to this truth to you. I say shalom. Till next time, Lord will lead. Shalom, shalom, Kwam Yasharala, and we'll walk like a ball.